If you're anything like me, you'll be super excited to know that the pools are soon going to be open again. The UK government has announced that next month the pools are likely to be reopened. So in today's video, we're going to be going through some easy steps to make the reintroduction of your swim training within your program as smooth and as simple as possible. Number one, mobility work before our first swim. Now, it's unlikely that unless you live by the coast or unless you have access to some sort of open water swimming venue, that you haven't actually been swimming. Now, because we haven't been going through the exact movement patterns that you would when you swim, it's likely that your upper body has become tighter, especially if you've added in some sort of land-based training exercises, because it can typically make the upper body tight, especially if you've been doing some upper body weight work. It's really important, therefore, to do some mobility work before our first swim, because this will make sure that the transition back into the pool will be a lot smoother and you'll feel a lot more comfortable going into your normal swimming routine. This is because swimming requires a lot of flexibility, especially in the shoulders and the upper body, to go through the correct technique and movement patterns, and therefore adding in some very basic and easy mobility work is vital to regain that flexibility that you once had. Mobility work is super easy to incorporate within your training. When you're doing your normal recovery work or yoga or anything like that, just try to add in a few upper body exercises that work on that mobility so that you're ready to jump straight back into the pool. Number two, getting the feel for the water back. No matter how much land training work you've been doing over the lockdown period, it's never going to be the same as actually swimming within the water, and therefore it's going to take some time to regain that feeling. This time, however, we're hoping that you have been able to maintain the strength in your arms, so even though you may not have the feeling for the water, you have been able to maintain the strength that you had before the lockdown hit. When you enter the water for the first time in a long while, it's super important that we're dialed in with our technique so we can pick up some good habits while we're relearning the muscle memory that we once had. My tip for helping you to regain the feeling of the water is to do some sculling drills. Now, there are two main sculling drills that I like to use. The front scull, where you have your hands reached out in front of you and you're making small sculling motions. And the second one is the middle scull, or under the body scull, where you have your arms bent in a high elbow catch position and again make small movements to slowly propel yourself through the water. You'll need a pool boy to do these sculling drills, and please make sure that you take your time because these drills are supposed to be super slow, so don't rush them. Number three, maximising the pool time that you actually have. Now, if the reintroduction to pool swimming is anything like the first lockdown, we're going to be working with a very limited amount of time and a very strict schedule. One of the ways that I found that I could maximise the very limited time that I had available to me was that I'd warm up on the ZWIM AT trainer before actually going to that swim session. Because you've done this land-based warm-up before you get to your pool session, it means that you can allocate less of your very reduced pool swimming time to doing a swim-specific warm-up. Because you're only going to have access to maybe a 45-minute or a 60-minute swim session, saving a few minutes at the start for not having to do as long of a warm-up is vital to make sure that you can get in a proper main set. By prioritising more of your time towards main set, it means that you're going to get more benefit out of that swim session, and therefore you're going to optimise the swimming that you have available to you. For more information on how you can maximise your triathlon training, visit ZWIM AT Coaching.